I want you to try something for me right now, just for a second. Stop what you're doing. Put down whatever is in your hands and just listen.
Listen to the silence.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's not silent.
Right.
Even if the room you're in is technically quiet, there's always a hum. Maybe it's the fridge, or maybe it's traffic outside.
The HVAC system kicking on.
Exactly. But then there's the other noise, the noise inside.
Oh, the internal noise.
Yeah, the replay of that awkward thing you said in a meeting 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The stress about an email you have to send tomorrow. Or even just that phantom buzz of a notification that isn't even there.
It's deafening, really. I mean, even when it's quiet, it's loud.
It is. And it feels like the definitive modern condition. We're more connected than ever, yet we are absolutely terrified of just being quiet.
We fill every single gap.
Every gap. With a text, a scroll, a video, if there's a lull in a conversation, we just panic.
Which brings us to the irony of this deep dive, honestly.
Right. Because we're using an audio format, which is technically noise, to talk about the absolute necessity of stopping the noise.
It's a fun paradox.
It is. So today we are diving into a really powerful source. It's called silence. The Power of Quiet in a Noisy World by the renowned Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh.
And I think we need to address the elephant in the room right away.
Please do. Because when I first picked this up, I thought, well, I assumed it was going to be a monk telling me to go live in a cave, hum for 3 hours a day, and ignore my mortgage.
That is the standard assumption. But we have to look at the source context here. Thich Nhat Hanh wasn't writing this from some luxury wellness spa in California.
Right.
He developed these practices while bombs were literally falling on his country during the Vietnam War.
Which is just wild to think about.
He was exiled for his peace activism. So when he talks about silence, he isn't talking about a lifestyle choice or some trendy wellness hack.
Survival equipment.
Exactly. It's battle-tested survival equipment for chaotic times.
And that context changed everything for me while reading this. It made it so grounded. And that's our mission for this deep dive.
To figure out why we're so afraid of the quiet.
Yes, and why silence isn't just an absence of noise, but actually a thundering force. And crucially, how we can use it to fix our relationships without having to pack up and move to a monastery.
Let's start with the core problem then. Why is it so loud in our heads?
Thich Nhat Hanh has a term for this that I know you had a visceral reaction to.
Oh, radio NST.
Radio nonstop thinking.
I felt personally attacked by that acronym.
Same. He argues that even when the external world is totally switched off, our internal radio is just blasting. And he uses this analogy that is, honestly, it's a little gross, but it really stuck with me.
The cow analogy.
Yes, the cow.
It is visceral, but it's medically accurate to the human condition. Think about how a cow eats. It eats grass, swallows it, and then later it regurgitates it as cud to chew on it again.
Renewing it over and over.
Right. And he says we do the exact same thing with our thoughts. We experience a sorrow or a regret, we swallow it, and then later, usually at 2 in the morning when we're trying to sleep, we bring it back up.
And we chew on it.
We chew on it, we reprocess the anger, the fear, the awkwardness, and we just do it repeatedly.
But here's the question I kept asking myself while reading this section. Why?
Why keep doing it?
Yeah, why do we keep the radio on? If chewing on this mental cud makes us miserable and exhausted, why don't we just change the station or turn it off?
Because we are terrified of what happens if the signal dies. He calls it the fear of the vacuum.
The vacuum. Break that down for us.
Think about it from your own perspective. If you put away the phone, stop the busy work, turn off the music, and actually stop the internal chatter, who are you left with?
You're just left with yourself.
And for a lot of us, that's a really scary place to be. We might find loneliness in there. We might find deep suffering. We might realize we aren't actually happy with where our life is going.
So we create noise to fill the vacuum.
Exactly. We use distraction as a defense mechanism against our own reality.
That really hits home. It's like we're running a constant filibuster in our own brains, just so we don't have to face the vote.
That is a perfect way to put it. And this connects directly to another concept he introduces, which is the 4 nutriments.
Oh, this blew my mind.
Usually when we think of diet or nutriments, we think of carbs, protein, vegetables.
Things we physically eat.
Right. But in Buddhist psychology, he points out that sense impressions are food too. Everything you consume with your eyes and ears is literally food.
So what we watch and listen to is something we ingest.
Yes. If you watch a violent TV show for 3 hours, you are eating violence. If you scroll through toxic comments on social media or read angry political rants, you are eating anger.
You're metabolizing it.
You're metabolizing it into your system.
It's a wild way to frame it. Because if I went to my fridge and saw a rotten apple or a piece of meat that smelled awful, I wouldn't eat it. I know it would make me physically sick.
You'd throw it away immediately.
But I will happily sit on my couch and consume 3 hours of rotten, anxiety-inducing news and then wonder why I feel completely terrible.
And just like junk food, that sensory input is engineered to be addictive. We consume it to cover up that feeling of emptiness, that vacuum we talked about, but it doesn't actually nourish us.
It just leaves us feeling hollower.
Exactly. So the very first step in this source material isn't about learning some fancy, complex meditation technique. It's about a diet. You have to stop eating the toxic noise.
Okay, so let's say we do that. We put the phone in another room. We step away from the news. What happens then? Because he describes the onset of true silence as a literal shock to the system.
He uses the story of Niagara Falls to illustrate this. Do you remember the winter of 2013 to 2014?
I do. The polar vortex. It got so incredibly cold that the falls actually froze over.
Right. For the first time in living memory, that massive, overwhelming volume of water just stopped. Thich Nhat Hanh asks us to imagine the plants, the trees, and the birds around the falls. Since they were born, all they have ever known is this thundering, shaking roar of water.
It was their baseline reality.
It was all they knew. And then suddenly, silence.
What he calls the sound of no sound.
Yes. It must have been terrifying for the ecosystem at first, but also think about it. For the very first time, those birds could actually hear the wind in the branches.
They could hear each other.
Exactly. That is what happens when we finally turn off radio NST. It's a shock at first, but it opens up a frequency we have literally never heard before.
I think that's a perfect segue because a lot of people, and I definitely include myself in this, tend to view silence as passive.
Like it's an absence of action.
Right. Silence is what you do when you have nothing to say. It's seen as weak. If you're silent in an argument, it means you're losing.
But Thich Nhat Hanh completely flips this idea on its head. He calls it thundering silence.
And this is where that historical context we mentioned really matters. If you think silence is weak, you have to hear the story of Daniel Marty.
Yes, this was in 1947 during the French occupation of Vietnam. Daniel Marty is a young French soldier. He's only 21 years old.
Just a kid, really.
Just a kid. And he's sent on a night raid to the Bao Quoc Temple because the French military suspects that resistance fighters are hiding there.
Okay, so picture the scene. It's the middle of the night. He's heavily armed.
He's probably terrified. His adrenaline is spiking. He's expecting a violent ambush at any second. He kicks open the doors to the temple.
And he doesn't find soldiers. He finds monks.
He finds 50 or 60 monks, and they are sitting in absolute total silence. They're meditating.
They don't run.
They don't run. They don't scream. They don't even look up at him.
That is such a chilling image. You have a guy with a gun shouting, totally ready for violence, and the response he gets is just pure presence.
And it broke him. He later told Thich Nhat Hanh that he was absolutely terrified by the silence.
Terrified by silence.
Yes, he said it felt like an invisible force. It was so solid and so imposing that it completely commanded his respect. He literally couldn't bring himself to commit violence in the face of that kind of peace.
That is thundering silence. It wasn't that they were doing nothing. It was that they were doing something so powerful it completely drowned out the aggression.
It is a profound form of action. And there's another example in the source that I absolutely love about this. The story of the coconut monk.
Oh, the coconut monk.
Yeah.
This guy sounds like an absolute legend. He lived down in the Mekong Delta.
Yes, on an island in the Delta. He was actually an engineer who turned into a monk, and he wanted to protest the war. But he didn't do it by shouting or marching or adding more noise to the world.
What did he do?
He went out and collected bomb fragments, shrapnel, bullet casings, all the destroyed debris of the war, and he melted it all down.
And he made a bell out of it.
A bell made of bombs. But the visual gets even better. He sat in a cage to meditate, and inside the cage with him, he had a cat and a mouse.
Living together.
Living perfectly together, sleeping side by side in peace.
Wow.
His message to the generals and the politicians was incredibly simple. If these natural enemies, a cat and a mouse, can live in peace through the power of calm presence, why can't we?
That is such a masterclass in activism and symbolism. It really drives home the point that silence isn't about running away or withdrawing from the world.
Not at all. It's about stopping the cycle of violence.
And that applies internally just as much as it applies to external wars. If you stop the war inside yourself, the war of self-criticism, the war of anxiety, you naturally start to affect the people around you.
Which brings us to arguably the most practical application of this entire deep dive, our relationships.
This was the part of the material that felt the most urgent to me. Because he says something pretty damning. He says we have lost the ability to communicate because we have lost the ability to listen.
It's so true. Think about your last argument. Were you really listening to the other person, or were you just waiting for them to stop talking so you could fire off your rebuttal?
I was definitely drafting my opening statement in my head. I was just scanning their words, looking for the holes in their logic so I could win.
We all do it. We are so full of our own noise and our own defense strategies that we literally have no room to receive what the other person is actually saying.
Thich Nhat Hanh says you cannot listen to another person until you have listened to yourself. You have to empty your own cup first.
And once you've done that, once you've found even a little bit of that silence, he offers these 4 mantras for relationships.
I want to walk through these slowly because when I first read them, I thought, okay, these are cute. They sound nice.
But then you try to use them.
Right. I tried to imagine actually saying them in a heated moment, and I realized how incredibly hard they are.
He calls them magic formulas, but they require immense courage to actually pull off.
Okay, let's look at mantra number 1. Darling, I am here for you.
It sounds so easy, right?
It does.
But to say that and truly mean it, you have to actually be there. You can't be checking your watch. You can't be thinking about the project that's due on Friday.
You are offering your true presence as a gift.
Exactly. In a world of constant multitasking, giving someone your completely undivided attention is the rarest commodity there is.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, mantra number 2. Darling, I know you are there and I am very happy.
This one is all about recognition. It's telling the other person, I see you. You aren't just furniture in my life. Your existence brings me joy.
It validates them.
It validates their basic existence. It seems so simple, but how often do we actually look at our partners or our friends and acknowledge their presence with joy rather than just taking them for granted?
That's very true. We just assume they know we're happy they're around.
But saying it out loud from a place of silence changes the dynamic.
Now, mantra number 3 gets a bit heavier. Darling, I know you suffer. That is why I am here for you.
This one relieves isolation. When we are hurting, we tend to feel like we are the only ones in the world feeling that specific pain.
We trap ourselves in it.
Right. This mantra says, I see your pain and I am not running away from it. I'm sitting in it with you. But again, you can't see their suffering if you are blinded by your own internal noise.
And then there's the 4th one. This is the black belt move. This is the one I read and immediately thought, I don't know if I can do this.
The 4th mantra is for when you are the one who is hurt. It goes, darling, I suffer. Please help.
Oof. That is just so hard. Because when someone I love hurts me, let's say they insulted me or forgot something really important, my instinct is absolutely not to ask them for help.
What's your instinct? To punish them.
Exactly. We want to withdraw. We want to slam the door. We want to prove that we don't need them at all.
Or we want to snap back and win the exchange, make their heart worse.
That is pride, pure and simple. Thich Nhat Hanh is very clear here. True love has no place for pride. If you're suffering because of something they did, you have to break down that barrier.
You have to admit vulnerability.
Yes. You have to say, I suffer, please help.
But isn't that making yourself weak in the face of conflict? It feels like weakness in the moment. But think about the outcome. If you attack them, they get defensive. The war continues and escalates.
Right.
But if you say, I suffer, please help, it disarms the conflict instantly. Because it invites them back in as a caregiver rather than an enemy.
It forces them to see the impact of their actions without feeling attacked.
Exactly. But you cannot do that if Radio NST is blasting a broadcast of I am right and they are wrong.
It requires that silence to swallow your pride. He uses a really beautiful analogy about music here, referencing Miles Davis.
Yes, the concept of the note you don't play. Music isn't just a constant, unbroken stream of sound. It's defined by the rests.
The silence between the notes.
Right. If you played every single note constantly without stopping, it wouldn't be music. It would just be chaotic noise.
And relationships are the exact same way.
Without the silence, without the space to process and just be together without words, a relationship becomes a chaotic mess. You need the rest to make it a song.
So we've covered the why and the what of silence. But I can clearly hear the listener right now. The person driving to work or folding laundry saying, this sounds beautiful, but I have a job. I have kids. I have a mortgage.
I can't go sit in a cage with a cat and a mouse.
Exactly. I don't have time for silence.
And the beauty of this source material is that Thich Nhat Hanh knows that. He doesn't say you need to leave your life behind. He says you need to reclaim the transit moments of your life.
The transit moments, like finding silence in the parking lot.
Precisely.
Explain the concept of walking meditation. Because usually when I walk from my car to the office, I'm just trying to get there as fast as humanly possible. I'm already fighting battles in the meeting in my head.
He calls that transit thinking. You are sacrificing the present moment for a future destination. You're treating the walk as an obstacle to get out of the way.
So what's the alternative?
Reclaim that time. When you walk, just walk. Feel your feet hitting the asphalt. Notice the temperature of the air.
He suggests a specific verse to say to yourself for this, right? I have arrived, I am home.
Yes. With every single step, you remind yourself that you are already exactly where you need to be. You are alive, you are breathing.
Suddenly that 5-minute walk isn't a chore you have to get through. It's a restoration.
It's not about finding extra time in your day. It's about fully inhabiting the time you already have.
He also gives us a really practical tool for the thing that steals most of our time and peace, the phone. He calls it the bell of mindfulness.
This is a brilliant bit of psychological jujitsu. Usually a notification sound that ping or ding triggers instant anxiety.
It's a Pavlovian signal to rush, to check, to stress, to respond.
My heart rate literally goes up when I hear the Slack notification sound. It's a physical reaction.
So how do we flip that?
He suggests reprogramming the trigger. When you hear a notification, make a deal with yourself. You will not pick up the phone until you have taken 3 deep breaths.
Oh, wow. So you use the literal noise of the distraction as a reminder to be silent.
Exactly. You turn the enemy into an ally. Those 3 breaths are a micro-meditation. They bring you back to what he calls the island of self.
I love this visual. Can you describe the island for us?
He says that when life is chaotic, when the storm of emotions or stress or deadlines is raging all around us, most of us try to stay out in the open ocean in a tiny, fragile boat.
We get tossed around by the waves.
We get seasick, we drown in the noise.
And the island is the refuge from that storm.
Yes, we all have an island inside us, a place of deep stability. It has trees, birds, solid ground.
But we forget how to get there.
We forget the way back because we are so frantically busy navigating the storm. He says your breath is the boat that takes you back to the island.
You don't have to fix the storm.
No, you just have to get out of the boat and step onto the solid ground of your own presence.
That image actually makes it feel incredibly doable. It's not about magically stopping the storm of modern life. It's just about choosing where you stand while it blows over.
Precisely.
So let's recap the journey we've been on today. We started with radio NST, that constant, exhausting mental chatter. We learned that we keep it running because we're terrified of facing the vacuum inside us.
But if we can be brave enough to face that vacuum, we discover thundering silence.
A power that can disarm soldiers and fundamentally heal our relationships. We walk through the 4 mantras to connect with our loved ones, especially that brutally difficult 4th one about swallowing our pride.
And we learned that we can practice this absolutely anywhere. Walking from the car to the office, or even using our phone notifications as a temple bell to call us back to our breath.
Here is where I want to land today.
Yeah.
The big so what of all this material. Why does it actually matter? Is it just to feel a little more relaxed? Is this just another stress management protocol?
It's so much bigger than relaxation. Thich Nhat Hanh talks about something he calls the call of life.
The call of life.
He believes that deep down, every single one of us has a fundamental question we are trying to answer. Who am I, and what do I really want to do with my life?
Not what society wants me to do. Not what my parents or my boss wanted me to do.
Exactly. But the answer to that question comes from a very deep, quiet place. And you simply cannot hear it if the radio is constantly blasting.
If you never turn off the noise.
If you never turn it off, you run the very real risk of spending your entire life climbing a ladder only to reach the top and realize it was leaning against the wrong wall.
That is a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
To succeed at the wrong things because you never got quiet enough to know what the right things actually were.
Silence is the only way to check the wall. It's how you ensure that your life is actually yours.
I want to leave everyone with a specific verse from the book that I think perfectly captures this exact mindset. It's about how we view our time every single day. It's called the 24 brand new hours.
It's a truly beautiful vow.
It goes like this. Waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live them deeply and learn to look at everything around me with the eyes of compassion.
It changes the entire context of the morning. It goes from a burden like, oh God, I have to do all this stuff today, into a gift.
You have this fresh currency of time. Don't waste it chewing the cud of the past. So here is our challenge to you, the listener. Today, just try it. Just 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes of meditation to become better or more productive or fix your life. Just 5 minutes of useless sitting.
Useless sitting. I absolutely love that phrasing. Don't try to achieve anything at all. Just be.
See if you can turn off radio NST, even just for a few seconds, and really listen to the sound of no sound.
You might be surprised at how loud it really is.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you in the next one.